So note that your supporting resolution would not indicate support for any other funding mechanisms necessarily, or any circumvention of our regular planning processes. The area that we would anticipate seeing this developed in is along Diamond Head Road. We would anticipate 7 duplexes or 14 housing units there. And Bert Peterson from Rockham LLC is here as well. So staff recommendation would be to see this placed on the October 18th agenda.
This would basically fill in that gap all the way along that street on the south side. Is that correct? Right now, I guess there's 7 lots.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I'm with Rockham. I'm the CFO and developer of the project. Mr. Burns and Rockham, sorry, Mr. Burns couldn't be with us. There was a really big elk that took his attention.
Congratulations.
So anyway, we own about, I believe, 90% of this neighborhood currently. We've owned these lots since the original development. Cost rents were a little out of balance to build for many years, still are, but with some of the programs out there, this is a tax credit program. So as he stated, it has no monetary effect on the city government. What we're looking for is a resolution of support, even though it's not required by the state. It shows good standing, good faith that you know what we're doing, you support what we're doing. We're supporting the city of Ottawa. We intend to build these. They're 1,107 square feet per unit, 2214 per structure. They have a 210 square foot covered deck, which can be enclosed. I think we're intending to enclose them some outdoor living space. Should be a very nice patio, excuse me, patio home. And so the KHITC program allows up to 30,000 per door in state tax credit offsets. So it's not even cash, it's tax credits, but so that's what we see. I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
I think we've been waiting to see some of those gaps filled for a long time, so I'm just glad to see some progress being made. So yeah, I think this is a very good proposal.
Have you guys looked at any of the other options with like moderate income housing, those other types of grants and stuff as well too?
If you recall last year, we made an application for MIH and KHITC. I'm literally going to pull the MIH from this application from last year, change the date and apply just for KHITC. A lot of the money on the last round, and I said last round, which was June. Almost all the money went to Sedgwick County and some of those areas that don't qualify for KHITC because they have too large a population base. So and it was the last round of ARPA. So they knocked out some really big projects with all the money last round. And this area was, I felt, slightly underserved. I think that'll change this round.
Thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
Not that it matters for the application process. However, do you anticipate these being rental homes?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah, the rest of the neighborhood, barring 2, I believe, were condoed. 2 of the structures in that neighborhood were condoed early on by other owners. The rest of the neighborhood is rental, and we try our best to keep a nice, clean neighborhood, keep things very well taken care of. So that will continue.
Commissioners, any other questions?
You have a time frame in mind?
So the longest time frame, from my understanding, is getting your paperwork back from the state. Once that's ready, these are shovel-ready lots. I have a contractor who is ready. We designed this. We put this design together. So he's ready to go as soon as we get approval. I expect it to be. I mean, it's the same concrete guy walks from one, the HVAC guy, the car. It should roll fairly quickly. By the time they get onto their 7th one, they should have their measurements pretty much memorized, I would hope.
Good.
Is this similar floor plan to what else is in the neighborhood?
It's similar as in 2 bedroom, 3 bath, and that's about where it stops. I mean, there's only so much that can be done with a patio home, but what we felt one of the problems with your standard patio homes is, outdoor living is a part of everyday life now. And the problem with most patio homes is you go out the back door and you got a little bitty fence that's between your family and the family next door that you may or may not want to hear what they're talking about. So if you look at our plan, we made it so that you can exit through the rear without going through somebody's bedroom, or oddly enough, some of them I've even seen have bathrooms, none of ours, but I've seen that exit door on the bathroom. So we've tried to tighten up the design and make it much more modern living, functional. So. From an exterior appearance, they'll look pretty similar to what's there. And that was also our goal. Neighborhood continuity is kind of important.
Commissioners, any other questions? If not, would you like to move this on to Wednesday's agenda? We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Director Neese, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us on to item B, which is the Legacy Square proposal presentation by Ottawa Community Partners, Inc. Mr. Lee, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And so, first of all, thank you for allowing the Onward Ottawa OCPI to present this today. My name is David Lee, for those of you that don't know, and I, along with Pam Harris, are the co-chairs of the Onward Ottawa organization. And what we're here today to do is to provide you an update on Legacy Square, and then also talk about maybe what's missing and possibilities thereabouts. But before I get into that, I'd like everybody that in the audience that has been a part of the Legacy Square project to stand up, if you would. Just all right, thank you so much. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about Legacy Square, but I will say that this journey began back in 2017 when about 150 community members, wide-ranging community members, got together and really discussed and dreamed about a community project downtown. That's where the idea that eventually became Legacy Square came from. And so over the next 2 years, 2 long years, the Onward Ottawa group and a whole host of volunteers spent a ton of time planning, fundraising, and ultimately constructing what is now Legacy Square. And so since the ribbon cutting that we had in 2019, we've had over 50 events in that space, with many of the events occurring regularly. In fact, we've got one that starts there every week. The Ottawa Bike and Trail Bicycle Shop leads a bicycle ride that starts there every day or every week when weather permits. And they have a number of trails that they take, but it always seems to lead back to the same place, and that's at Not Lost Brewing across the street there. So in this time, we're also beginning to have a number of events that are starting to occur on an annual basis, such as the Bad Astra bike race, which in 2023 brought in 170 registered riders, plus all the support staff along with them. The vast majority of those folks are from outside the county. And the 2023 numbers of 170 is an increase from 130 that they had last year. So that event is growing, and that event starts and ends right there at Legacy Square. We also host the Unity Festival, the Good Friday service, OU Fusion, Fleet Junk and Trunk, Ladies Night Out that had, according to the numbers, had about 500 that registered for that, with about 10% of those coming from outside the county, and 25% of those were from outside the city limits. So it's bringing folks to town. And then we also hosted two summer concerts right there under the pavilion, which is a wonderful place to listen to a concert. And so we had 2 of those this summer. And then Legacy Square has also become the starting place for both the homecoming parade and the Christmas parade. Both of those events start right there at Legacy Square and head through town. So I feel like it's safe to say that Legacy Square has had the intended outcome in creating a community space that is that's beautiful. It's unique, and it's also functional in its outdoor community venue. And we're hosting a wide range of events there. But there's something missing. When we started this project, one of the components that we looked hard at and we worked diligently to try to include in the original project was a connecting link between Main Street and downtown and Legacy Square. There's a vacant lot where a building used to be. That the city actually tore that building down some years ago. We worked hard to incorporate that, but due to a variety of circumstances, we weren't able to make that a part of the project. Well, we think today the circumstances have changed, and we think that finishing this project and tying Main Street to Legacy Square would be a wonderful way to finish this. And we have dubbed this the Connecting the Link project. And so we feel like that's the missing link to this project. And the project, we've provided you with with some sketches that were prepared by the state Main Street organization that show a canopy area that matches the Legacy Square structures. Really labels that and ties it together. It's also got a concrete path that will have landscaping all the way through there, some wall murals for an added touch, and something that's quite frankly been needed is a sound system for downtown and Legacy Square that would all be tied together, all part of this project. And so that is what we envision. There's a ton of details yet to be worked out, but this is the kind of the broad scope of what we're thinking. And I've got another member of our board, Ryan Henningsen, here to talk about the financials associated with that.
Yeah, thank you, David. So my name is Ryan Henningsen. I am on the board as well, and I want to walk you through the financials that we presented to you, and then be free for questions for anyone that has them. So, as David mentioned, we did a ribbon cutting, opened this project, this park, in 2019. As all of us know, we ran into a little bit of a hiccup in 2020. Running into COVID, which, probably put us behind a little bit on being able to program, use the park, and some fundraising on the park. So as he kind of walked you through the history of how that developed, what I want you to see is kind of what our plan is financially, what we're working with currently, and what we will ask you as the city to think about helping us out with. So I will say on some of the numbers we've presented to you, we've received estimates on what we think some of these costs are going to be, but we don't have true final draw ups yet on some of the components. So we've tried to build in contingencies for that and hopefully pad these a little bit higher in hopes that we're capturing all the costs that could come. So I want to start you at the top of that financial statement that is in front of you. That original principal number that you're seeing at $904,000 was the original loan amount that we had to take to gap for the project when we were waiting for pledges and other fundraising to come in, because we were able to fast forward and finish this project in one phase instead of 3. And a lot of the commitments we received were multi-year commitments. So we needed that loan to gap us for that fundraising efforts. You do see some payments that we made on that principal since we originated that loan, and then the balance, and then we also incorporated some interest. We do have some pledges outstanding yet. commitments, and we think all but one of those are solid. We have some cash balance, so that's the offset, and then the gap of 400, a little over 475,000 that you see. These are new additions that David mentioned, speakers, connecting that land, what that would look like and feel like from dressing it up from art and landscaping and those types of components that we built in there. We think that total project cost is going to come in a little over 1.1 million, which is actually a little bit less than we had originally kind of been planning over, I'd say, the last month or two, as we started pulling some of these numbers together. And then as you can see, we plan to accomplish this down below, and there's some different line items. This is where I'd be happy to answer questions if you have them, through donors in kind, through exploring some grants, through matching contributions, and through new fundraising efforts on the account of our board and our membership. So what we would like to ask and have you put on your agenda is to think about helping out from a matching perspective. So we originally had thought our budget was going to be about 1.5 million for this whole thing to come together and be completed and connect Legacy and downtown. So we wanted to ask to see if the city would be available or consider a 475,000 help with this project. And in our head, that would be kind of a matching request or challenge, right? So for every dollar the city could help out with, we're committing to raising another 2. That number is probably a little bit less now because we think that budget is going to come in a little bit less than 1.5, so closer to that 1.1, 1.2. But we'd still ask for your consideration on helping us with that contribution and looking at it as a match. We'd also commit that we'd receive or get those funds through the grants and fundraising and in kind, and have that completed by the end of October of 2024. So basically 1 year out. And if we can't have that done by then, we won't start the project. So we want to have all those funds accounted for, received, and ready before we start that new construction for the completion of the connection of Legacy and downtown. So I'll stop there. Oh, I do want to say we have several of our partners that have helped us with existing Legacy and that have also committed to helping us with continuing this project and completing this project. So the fashion family is with us. They obviously were our biggest contributor in making sure and seeing Legacy complete. They've committed to helping us with this next phase of the project. Yeah, I think I saw Jack Thompson is here, and he's committed to helping us with the concrete. I think we have commitments from Luma Vista. Who am I forgetting? Penny's Concrete. Thank you, Melanie. Sorry. I feel like is that it? Okay. So we have a lot of our partners already on board with in-kind donations to help us see this project completed. So let me stop there and be free to answer any questions that I maybe missed or didn't cover in depth.
I was just going to comment about the new structure pavement and landscaping and the $500,000. That just kind of shocked me a little bit. What is that accurate? And you say we're still waiting to get some estimates or pending on that?
We received a number from Josh Walker and Lloyd Builders. And this is where those numbers are a little soft because we don't have a true plan completed. So I think we included some mock-ups in your packet to give you some idea what the visuals would look like. One of those pictures I think is showing like a fountain in the middle or a splash part. I don't think that's probably a realistic part of the project moving forward. So I think once we get a true draw up of is that what that sidewalk's going to look like, benches, but the number Walker gave us, and Wendy, help me out if I'm misspeaking here, ended up being that's the 519.5. Okay. Includes design and installation. That is, yeah, that's not, and then, yeah, that'd be the total number, we think. Yeah. Yeah. So all the infrastructure, electric, plumbing. Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, it's a grass lot right now. So you're building upon a grass lot.
Correct.
Commissioners, you have any other questions for Ryan at this point?
So like on the matching, just make sure I understand that right, that if we commit to 475 and then the rest of the total needed. You've got that worked out with regard to raffles, I see grants, other fundraising, I suppose, coming in.
Yeah, so let me use that 519 number, for example, part of that can also become in-kind donations as well. So that might be the quoted cost. That might not end up being the cash need that we have if we have some partners step up with in-kind donation or labor. Yeah.
And with the construction start, once those in-kind and raffles and everything's been committed and in the bank, I guess.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And could you kind of clarify for people who are listening or maybe watching, with the new structure pavement landscaping at that 519 below, where that's structure at 70, concrete materials 19, that's the matching.
Yeah, so correct. We try to give an idea of what we had committed already. So the structure, again, depending on what that ends up looking like, around 70,000. Now that number, concrete, sidewalk, that 19 and a half, that would all be, again, what we think roughly we have donated in value already. That goes into that 519 number. Yeah.
So in essence, the 519 would be less. Or is that after those in-kind contracts?
Yeah, so if you look at that total budget up there, the total project cost of 1.145, that's what we're budgeting as the total cost. And then that next section down is where do we think we're gonna be able to get it? Yeah, so part of it will be that in-kind labor material, and then pledges, raffles, grants. Yeah, that'd all be the rest of it. And then the help from the city. Yeah.
Could you specify for someone who doesn't know, what does in-kind mean? In terms of a donation, what is in-kind?
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean a cash donation, but like Jack, I'll use Jack as an example. Said he would install the concrete for us, right? So we wouldn't have to go out and hire a contractor to do that. He's going to do that labor for us. So instead of a cash donation, we have that in-kind work being donated. Thank you. Good question.
At the end of the document that you have in front of us, and actually the public is encouraged and welcome to look at the document that is in our packet, but it does indicate that once the fundraising efforts are successful with OCPI and with the commitment, if the city chooses to make the commitment to this project, that the transfer of the deed will happen, in which the city will become owner of the lot, the new lot. I want to make sure that I understand it correctly, and the rest of it.
Correct. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, that's the intention, is that we complete the project, connect Legacy and Main Street, speaker system, all of that, and then deed that Legacy and the new lot completely over to the city.
Is there any other questions for Ryan at this point?
I think we saw recently a picture of the before, and I guess I had kind of forgotten what that looked like, and what an ugly intersection corner that's been for years and years. And certainly every time I drive by, just thinking what we have there, and it's a real plus. And I agree, this is something our community definitely needs, and we've used, like you said, it's been encouraging to see the usage. I'm glad for that. So yeah, I'll just stop right there, but yeah. And I like this idea of the connecting. We've talked about that for a long time too. We kind of needed that connection to Main Street. I think the merchants would appreciate that too. So I see some benefits to this.
Well,
I'm still suffering sticker shock, but that's typical in my world. So.
Well, I think we've put a ballpark value on that total project at 4.9 million. And so I want to thank the city again for your contributions on seeing that project through in the past, and your consideration for this new ask. And then again, a lot of our big partners and donors are here with us this evening. So I'll say thank you to them again. It just it's great to see that for the community. So appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
You have anything else, David? Commissioners, I'm assuming seeing this the first time, we've got a lot of reviewing to do and a lot more discussion to have, so we'll have this on an agenda down the road.
Is there a timeline? Is there a suggested timeline?
We had anticipated presenting it at the next commission meeting on Wednesday
Oh,
for discussion and or final action, whatever the commission would like to do. And then to utilize the remaining 2 study sessions as potential discussion points as well as needed.
anything else? All right, we'll move on to item C. Thank you all for showing up today. We appreciate your time.
You can stick around if you want, you know, it's exciting stuff. Blake knows how exciting this can be.
Don't take this personally, David.
Yeah.
All right, item C is the resolution approving final plat and accepting the dedication of all easements and right of ways within the back Victory Plaza Development, Director of Neighborhood and Community Services.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Honorable
Sorry, I was reading
Commission.
both, and they don't even say the same thing. That's why I'm still confused about your
We're just excited you're here to present.
Yeah.
this.
I'm excited to be here and,
Yeah.
and hopefully without as much of an audience, I won't stumble through this quite so much. So have for you a resolution that we ask that you consider placing on the October 18th, 2023 regular city commission agenda, approving the final plat and accepting the dedication of all easements and right of way within the Victory Plaza development. This was approved as a preliminary plat by the Planning Commission on September 8th, 2021. So this has been in the works for a while. At that time, it was approved with a condition that the developer applicant resolve all plat drawing issues satisfactorily. And the city engineer has determined that any issues were resolved. It includes the construction of public sanitary sewer main extension, public water main, right turn lane, curb, gutter, and sidewalk on the 23rd Street. And that all is in process, and there's meetings right now at a every other week tempo as that moves forward. It is a 2-lot plat, and that is allowing for the construction of a relocated dealership for Victory, Ottawa, being built in 2 phases. And just for clarity's sake, that those building permits were issued only once a development agreement was in place and a letter of credit was received from the owner. There's no direct impact, financial impact to the city. Of course, anticipated increased assessed valuation and increased sales tax income. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Director Neese?
I'm glad to see this project progressing. I've had some people asking about the road being closed. Do we have any idea on a separate topic, how long that will be closed?
We're meeting every other week to discuss it as they work. There's I think we're hopefully on track for end of the year, but that kind of depends on the weather agreeing for asphalt placement. And so that timeline could, I'll be hopeful. So.
And on that, for the road, that only has a right turn lane when you're headed eastbound. There's no left turn lane when you're headed westbound.
I can't actually speak to that. I don't know if.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Commissioners, any other questions for Director Neese? Would you like to move this on to Wednesday's agenda? What we'll do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you.
All right, item D is the appointment of the electric production superintendent, David Hunsaker, to the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency Board Directors. City Clerk, hey.
Mayor Commissioners, with the retirement of Dennis Tharp, we need to appoint a director two. That term would expire on April 30th, 2024. So staff is recommending that David be appointed to complete that term. And I would stand for any questions.
David, any objections?
No, I don't object.
Okay, just making sure.
As a board of director on the KMEA board, for the city of Ottawa, I would say that, I mean, David has been coming to meetings alongside me for years. It would make absolute sense to have him be as a part of the board of directors.
Commissioners, you okay with moving this on to Wednesday's agendas also?
Yep.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you. All right, item E is our comments by our city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Commission. Just want to provide a reminder that we'll have quarterly reports on for the next meeting on Wednesday. You'll have a executive session on the 23rd, and we'll be reviewing our present community funding agreements at the November 1st regular meeting. So you'll be seeing those at that time. And then want to thank our folks for working on assessing both those circuits 8 and 10 that's been ongoing. We haven't had any outages since the 28th of September, which was caused by railroad work, where they had knocked some trees down onto the line that caused the outage there. There has been some reported incidents within certain isolated businesses, but there's been nothing from the system side that indicates that we've had any additional outages. So I know that David and Ed and their teams have been working diligently on that. And we're working to continue one-on-one meetings with property owners and businesses that are and have been impacted by that, as we work with our engineers to come up with a solution that we believe will put our industrial and commercial capabilities at the forefront and segregate residential from commercial loads ideally. One other thing too is just as an update on the fiber RFP, we did have a Q&A, and I want to thank Paul and his team for facilitating that, and our city attorney Blaine Finch for his time in answering some of those questions as well. And then also would like to kind of put a bug in your ear if you would consider it regarding the frequency of meetings and meeting times. We have 6 meetings a month, usually, sometimes more. What I would like for you to think about is perhaps considering shifting to all Wednesday meetings, where we would have standing either for regular meetings each month, with the 7 p.m. on the first Wednesday, and then the remaining Wednesdays occurring at 4 p.m. And those could be regular meetings, so we could take them as needed and then present everything as kind of a first read, second read, or we could keep that same first and third regular and second and fourth special, or study sessions with special meetings as needed. And that would, I think, enable staff to be able to present more thorough and concise written reports for presentation, as well as giving more regular and written staff operating reports and project updates.
Could you email that to us each so we can kind of study it, look it over?
Yes, sir.
Your proposal, I can see that, sure.
Anything else?
No, sir, that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Comments by city commissioners, Commissioner Graves?
No comment.
Thank you. Commissioner Kaler?
Want to give a slight little update on the league conference that was last weekend. And not this previous weekend, the weekend before. Good sessions, a really good time to have some good fellowship with fellow individuals who are elected across the whole state. It's always comforting to hear from others about their challenges, but also to see what kind of solutions they have come up with and to have those conversations. And we are not able to do that in really other venues. So it was a good conference, and I think I appreciate our city manager attending and Commissioner Clayton for attending. It was worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Clayton?
I would just reiterate that about the League of Kansas Municipalities Conference as well. It was great. A lot of the issues we are facing are kind of all over the state and all over the nation. So it's interesting to get some perspectives on that. Do just want to say tomorrow is the last day to register to vote. So if you need help doing that, there's some great resources online. And then tomorrow night in here is the candidate forum for school board and for city commission. So be sure to come over if you have any questions you would like to ask us. That it's a little daunting to come to these meetings and ask. So feel free to come to that as well and vote.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore.
And I had mentioned to several people, we'd be bringing up the chickens again. I guess maybe we're not done. We've had a lot of people comment about our ordinance, particularly one about being next to non-occupied buildings next door. That limitation seemed to disqualify about everybody that spoke with me. And also about the no slaughtering chickens outdoors, just to strike that entirely is what I mentioned that several people said that would be perfect if we can do that. Several people wanted more chickens, but I think that was not something we all agreed at 5 was probably a good number to work with. But anyway, I think next study session, I'll bring a proposal for you all to look at and see what I think maybe we can try and then discuss it from that point. Also, this weekend is a city cleanup on Friday, the 20th and the 21st. Go to our city website to look where the dumpsters are and the requirements with regard to what you can dispose of.
Thank you. Please.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to also bring up one more item that I forgot, which is we'd like to present permission to apply for a playground matching grant at the next meeting, which has essentially an October 31st deadline. So go ahead. 20th deadline, I'm sorry. So we'll.
So you're gonna show it Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll show the knock-on effects on that as well. That's why I wanted to give you a heads up, so that way we're aware.
Appreciate it. Thank you. My comments, really nice to see all the veterans flags that have been put up over the last week or so. I think it's actually gonna help Chief Weingartner out. I've noticed myself slowing down and reading the names and stuff, so I think you're gonna see a lot less tickets in the near future, so. And then when they take them down, the tickets may go back up, but it's nice to see our former city manager on there. I don't know if everybody knows him and all the other individuals. I was really we had a conversation with these individuals months and months ago, and I was excited to hear for them to come and talk to us. And you'd seen them in other communities, and now they're up in our community, and it's wonderful to certainly see the folks that have fought for our community and our safety and stuff, and to show the respect that they deserve for sure. So it's wonderful to see. Any other comments? If not, I have a few announcements. October 18th, it's our regular meeting here at 10 a.m. And then October 23rd, we have our next study session at City Hall at 4 p.m. Anything else to come before the commission? I'll adjourn.